Yes, students. So, good morning. Uh, we'll wait for another 5 minutes for students to join. Okay, so we shall start with the session now. Yes, students. So, did I announce any test yesterday? Did I announce any test? Last class, did I announce test? My voice is feeble. 1 minute. Is it audible now? Okay. So, last class, did I announce any test to you people? Yes. So, I wanted all of you to take your notebook. The test is going to be an oral test to all of you. It's going to be an oral test. So, kindly get ready. When I ask you to unmute, kindly unmute. Okay? So, the test is on chemical reactions and equations chapter, correct? Chemical reactions and equations. Okay, so what are we going to study in chemical reaction and equations chapter? First question goes to, who's willing to answer? No one? Yes, students, is anyone willing to answer the question? First, raise your hands. Okay, Subhashri has raised her hand. Actually, students, the mute control, I'm going to give it to you now because it's going to be an oral test. Yes, Subhashri, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Subhashri, the first question is, you're going to tell me what is the chemical formula of silver nitrate?
AgNO3, ma'am.
So, symbol of silver is
Ag.
nitrate.
NO3.
Valency of silver,
2, 1, ma'am.
1. Nitrate.
1.
So, when you crisscross, you get AgNO3. Good. Silver nitrate valency is this. Okay, another one question to you. What is a combination reaction?
When metals react with non-metal to form a chemical compound, ma'am.
Only that is a combination reaction. Can you give me a general definition of combination reaction?
Two elements react together to form a compound, ma'am.
Okay, two smaller substances combining to form a larger molecule is called as combination reaction, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The reverse of combination is decomposition reaction, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your name is Subhashri, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, Subhashri. So I'm giving you 5 marks. So no, sorry, 2 marks per question. Next question goes to Dakshinya. Dakshinya.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, Dakshinya, I could hear you. The question that I'm going to ask you is, can you express the following chemical reaction in terms of equation? Calcium carbonate, on heating it gives you calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Calcium carbonate, on heating it produces calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Can you write this in terms of equation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, tell me.
CaCO3 on heating gives CaO plus CO2.
Very good, very good. Good. Thank you. What's your name?
Dakshinya, ma'am.
Dakshinya. So Dakshinya, 2 marks. Good. So next question goes to um, 1 minute, excuse me. Yes. So shall we go to the next question? Next question, is anyone willing to answer? Okay. Helena and Hannah. Dakshini, you have answered the question. You can lower your hands.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Helena and Hannah, question to you is, what happens? What happens when you heat sodium oxide? Helena and Hannah, can you tell me what happens when you heat sodium oxide? Helena? Helena and Hannah,
Yes, ma'am.
can you tell me what happens when you heat sodium oxide?
Sodium and oxide, ma'am.
Sodium? Huh?
Oxygen is released, sodium.
So you say that sodium oxide on heating it produces sodium plus oxygen.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Another 4 has raised their hand. Let us ask them also. Sanvia. Sanvia? Is this
Ma'am?
right? Is this right, Sanvia? Sodium oxide on heating it gives sodium and oxygen. Is this right?
No, ma'am. Sodium peroxide, ma'am.
No.
And sodium.
No. Sai Kripa?
Sodium oxide decomposes and forms sodium plus oxygen.
Okay. No, that is also not the answer. Okay, now listen here, students. Actually, regarding the decomposition, we have to know certain things. What does that mean? In a decomposition reaction, if you see, we know that in general, first, what happens to metallic oxides, we have to see. Okay, before going into that, we'll talk about the highly reactive metals. So reactivity series of metal. I would like to ask this question to Amita. Amita? Amita, can you unmute yourself, Amita?
Ma'am?
Okay, is this Amita speaking?
Ma'am,
Who's this speaking?
am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now. Amita, my question is, can you tell me the reactivity series of metals?
Reactivity series of metal, ma'am. So, sodium,
No.
sorry, ma'am, potassium,
Uh,
sodium,
hmm.
calcium,
Hmm.
magnesium,
Hmm.
aluminium,
Hmm.
carbon,
Okay, then?
zinc,
Hmm.
iron, ferrous,
Iron.
iron,
Uh,
tin,
hmm.
lead,
Hmm.
hydrogen,
Hmm.
copper,
After this, you have copper.
silver, gold. Copper, silver, gold, ma'am.
Platinum. Yes, good, good. This answer was given by Amita, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, Amita. So I'll give you 2 marks. Now,
Thank you.
students, do not consider this as a test session. Rather than that, also take it as a chance to read. Okay. So now, what I'm trying to say you all is the reactivity series of a metal not only decides how fast the metal will react, it also decides the stability of a compound. You understand? Highly reactive metals react very faster. For example, when I have potassium and oxygen, when you see the reactivity of these metals with oxygen, potassium and sodium reacts fast with oxygen. Okay, they react vigorously with oxygen. Not only potassium, sodium, the reactivity with oxygen for these metals varies like potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum. All these 4 metals reacts fast with oxygen. Very fast. You need not even heat it. Okay. Soon after, when you keep it exposed to atmosphere, they'll start to react. Okay, you need not heat. But when you come down, the reactivity is reducing. So what happens is zinc, iron, tin, lead and all will react with oxygen only on heating. Will react with oxygen only on heating. But other metals like copper, silver, gold, platinum, these metals do not react with oxygen, whatever might be the condition. Or extreme conditions, very high heat, if you give copper, might react to give copper oxide, that's all. But apart from that, they do not react. So this is the way they react. Okay, now,
Ma'am,
yes, tell me.
ma'am, below aluminum, carbon should come, no, ma'am.
Carbon is not a metal.
No, ma'am, in the reactivity series, below aluminum, carbon comes, no, ma'am.
Yes, in most of the reactivity series they have given you, but it's not needed. Need not include it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
That is to study the reducing nature. That is a different concept. If we include that now, it will be a little confusing for you. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this is how they react with oxygen. You all understand now? Now what happens is, what happens now? Potassium on reaction with sodium, it forms potassium oxide. K2O, Na2O, CaO, MgO, Al2O3. Potassium and oxygen had high affinity, right? They reacted very fast and they formed these compounds. So these compounds are highly stable. These compounds are highly stable. So what do we understand from this is the compounds of highly reactive metals are highly stable. Understood? You all understand, students? Why? Because they had high affinity. Am I right or not? So for example, there are 2 people in a classroom. Soon after seeing, they became very close. Like they had common interests. They had that wavelength. So they became friends very fast. So such kind of friendship, you know, it will last long. If you see, so they rather than after they help you, some people will become friends. or after you lend them something, some people will become friends. Rather than those people who become friends soon after seeing each other are considered to be will be very close. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is potassium oxide, sodium oxide, calcium oxide, magnesium oxide, aluminum oxide. All these metallic oxides are highly stable. Highly stable they are. Why? Because their metals reacted fast with oxygen, and so the compounds formed are highly stable. So from this, I could come to a conclusion that compounds of highly reactive metal are highly stable. Clear? So what do you mean by this? Compounds of highly reactive metal are highly stable. Understood? Do you all understand, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Mercury, yes, they are not highly reactive, but yes, they can react also. So what happens when you heat? Now let's see what happens to the metallic oxides. Okay. Let us take K2O, Na2O, MgO, I'm sorry, calcium, right? CaO, MgO, Al2O3. These metallic oxides are highly stable. So on heating, they do not decompose. You all understand, students? On heating these metallic oxides, they do not decompose because they are highly stable. Clear? But what about other oxides? So you have potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum. Then below these, you have your zinc oxide, then iron oxide, then tin oxide, PbO. These oxides, if you see, they are not, so if you see here, the zinc, iron, tin, lead, they reacted with oxygen on heating, right? They did not react fast, they reacted slow. So their compounds will be less stable than these oxides. That is, they are oxides, zinc oxide, iron oxide, tin oxide, and lead oxide will be less stable than potassium oxide, sodium, calcium oxide, magnesium, and aluminum oxide. Do you all understand? So here, these oxides decompose on heating it with reducing agent. On heating it with reducing agent. Ma'am, what do you mean by this? Actually, till even tin oxide, if you see, you can make use of a reducing agent, but lead oxide is stable. I'm sorry, highly unstable. So just by heating, you can decompose that. This will decompose on heating. But zinc, iron, and tin, you have to make use of a reducing agent. So ma'am might have taught you about redox reaction, right? So in that redox reaction, what you might have studied is zinc oxide on reacting with carbon, they produced zinc plus carbon monoxide. You all understand? So this is coke. So zinc oxide on reaction with coke, the byproduct of coal. What happens is they get decomposed to zinc plus carbon. Ma'am, why don't they decompose on heating? Just by heating cannot decompose this. Can I not decompose zinc oxide? No. They are less stable than these oxides, but not as less stable than lead oxide or copper oxide. They are an intermediate. So to decompose them, I have to make use of a reducing agent like coke. Do you all understand, students? When we heat zinc oxide, nothing will happen, even on strong heating. But when you treat them with coke, they easily, metallic oxide easily gets decomposed to zinc plus carbon monoxide. You all understand? Please note down this. And if you take your lead oxide, copper oxide, mercury oxide, lead, mercury, or after that only you have copper. These oxides decompose on heating. These oxides decompose on heating. Listen here, students. Again, I'm explaining you. Highly reactive metals compounds will be highly stable. You all understand? Compounds of highly reactive metals are highly stable. If someone could unmute, I could explain it much more clearly. If you interact with me, can someone unmute yourself? Students? No one is willing to unmute? I'm not going to ask question. Yes,
Ma'am.
is this? Okay, Pranav. Pranav?
Ma'am, Pranav, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Pranav, talk now. So question now is, Pranav, the highly reactive metals, compound I said it to be highly stable, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And among these metals, what are the metals that reacted fast with oxygen?
Potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, and aluminum.
So these are the metals that reacted fast with oxygen, right? So their metallic
Yes.
oxides, so when they react fast with oxygen, so their metallic oxides will be highly stable. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then after that, what you have?
Zinc, zinc, iron, tin,
And
lead, ma'am.
lead. These are not highly reactive like those elements, but they react on heating, right?
On heating.
Like
Yes, ma'am.
actually before copper you have mercury here. Mercury, copper, silver, gold, platinum. These do not react with oxygen even on strong heating, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But if you see lead and mercury can react with oxygen, okay. Up to tin they react with oxygen on heating. Lead, mercury, copper and all, they react on strong heating. They can react to very small extent. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now coming back here, you have your these oxides. Now the compounds of these metals are highly stable, oxides of these metals. So we cannot decompose them on heating. So what can we do?
Ma'am, we can add another reducing agent which is
No.
affinity to oxygen.
For these metals, we cannot also use reducing agents because they are that much stable. Only possible is electrolysis, that is current. You understand? So
Yes,
for
ma'am.
this, I'll give current. Then, now zinc oxide, iron oxide, tin oxide are not as stable, but still they are stable. So to decompose them, I cannot just give heat. So I make use of reducing agent like coke. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
For lead, mercury and copper oxide, they are not as stable like zinc, iron and tin. So I can decompose them on heating.
Heating.
Understood? Understood?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Now I think everyone has understood this, right? Now the same thing you can also talk for carbonates also. Okay, we take potassium carbonate, sodium carbonate, calcium carbonate. 1 minute, students. 1 minute. Now students, do you all see this page? So if you see here, again, when you look at the carbonates, when you look for the carbonates, we know that again, the same point, compounds of highly reactive metals are very stable. Okay, so Here afterwards, the highly reactive metals that is considered as potassium, sodium are highly reactive compared to any other metal. Only for the reaction of oxygen, potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum react faster. But for other carbonates and nitrates, potassium and sodium are considered to be highly reactive. And then calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead, copper are medium reactive. Silver, gold will be least reactive. Do you all understand? Now, first let's see the stability of your metallic carbonate. Okay, metal carbonates. Potassium carbonates and sodium carbonate, even if you heat, they do not decompose because they are highly stable. But all other metallic carbonates, that is calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead, and copper, these metallic carbonates, on heating, they get decomposed to metallic oxide and carbon. In general, metallic carbonate, on heating, they will get decomposed to metallic oxide and carbon dioxide. Correct? Metallic carbonate, on heating, they get decomposed to metallic oxide and carbon dioxide. But exception, potassium carbonate and sodium carbonate, they do not decompose on heating. Clear? Understood? So now, 1 minute. Okay, someone is asking me, ma'am, what if we use potassium as reducing agent to reduce sodium oxide? Yes, you can use. You can do. But again, reducing agent, making use of no reaction will take place because they are highly stable. First, you cannot make use of pure potassium. If you have pure potassium, yes, that is possible. But potassium, soon after you keep it in the atmosphere, they'll react with oxygen. You can never get pure potassium. Clear? They are highly reactive, potassium and sodium. Okay, now, so thermal decomposition of potassium carbonate and sodium carbonate is not going to bring any change. But calcium, magnesium, aluminum carbonate, on heating, they produce metallic oxide and carbon dioxide. Now, what about silver and lead? Silver carbonate is also there. Gold carbonate might also be there. What happens when you heat those carbonate? They get converted to metal plus carbon dioxide plus oxygen. Why? So for example, if you take silver carbonate, AgCO3, on heating, as usual, it produces silver oxide and carbon dioxide. But we know that silver is a least reactive metal, so their metallic oxide is highly unstable. So, and you are also heating silver carbonate. So what happens? This will get decomposed to silver and oxygen and carbon dioxide. So when you heat silver carbonate, it produces silver plus oxygen plus carbon dioxide. Do you all understand, student? Hope you all understood this. So this is what is being given here. Please note down. Please note it down. Yes, students, have you completed? Okay, now next question is about metallic nitrates. Now metallic nitrate. Generally, when you heat metallic nitrates, any metallic nitrates if you take. Yes, why have you raised your hand? You can ask question directly. Students, those who have raised your hand, why did you raise your hands? Lakshita and Vital Rao, do you want me to keep that page for a minute? Answer something.
Ma'am, oral test.
Yeah, I know oral test, but many concepts are to be discussed. So I'm just skipping oral test for now. Once if I complete these topics, do you all know these topics already? Huh?
No, ma'am.
No. So then we should know this, right? Rather than test, knowing concepts is important. This is all important for your board point of view also, NCRT point of view also. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So metallic nitrate you take now. So when you take metallic nitrates, so metallic nitrates generally, in general, on heating, they get converted to metallic oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. Clear? So metallic nitrate on heating in general, they get decomposed to metallic oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. Understood? So this is what they produce. But what is going to happen here? Well, which method? But exception in this is exception will be what element? Which element will have this exception? Students, which element will have this exception?
Copper.
No, potassium and sodium. See, potassium and other carbonates decompose to metallic oxide and carbon dioxide. But potassium carbonate and sodium carbonate didn't decompose at all. Similarly, copper also, but first let's see this. Here, potassium nitrate and sodium nitrate, what do they do is, when you heat these metallic nitrates, they produce, actually, they have high affinity towards nitrogen. They are highly reactive compounds, the highly reactive metals, right? So I told you their compounds will be highly stable. So what happens is, the potassium will not leave nitrate outside as like other compounds. Other compounds let down as nitrogen dioxide, but potassium and sodium will not do that. What do? Is they just get converted from nitrate to nitrite. So potassium nitrite plus oxygen or sodium nitrite plus oxygen will be produced. Do you all understand? So potassium nitrate on heating, they get converted to potassium nitrite plus oxygen. And similarly, sodium nitrate on heating gets converted to sodium nitrite plus oxygen.
Ma'am, ma'am, in left side only 3 oxygen, but in
Students, balancing it to do. We have to balance it. We'll come to that part soon.
yes, ma'am.
I know very well that you people are very good in balancing equations and writing chemical formulas. So, but there are certain more concepts that you have to know to give you a better understanding of the chapter, and so that you can answer well in the questions. Not only this chapter, again, the same thing you will be studying in metals and non-metals chapter. You have it in your 10th standard. So 2 chapters are getting covered at the same time. Do you all understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now see, listen here. So now what happens? Metallic nitrate, potassium nitrate and sodium nitrate, as I have told you, they get their metallic nitrates will get decomposed to metallic nitrite plus oxygen. But all other metallic nitrates up to copper, they get decomposed to metallic oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. But silver, what they do is silver nitrate on heating, it gets decomposed. As usual, they form silver oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. But what happens is silver oxide is highly unstable, so they get decomposed to silver and oxygen. Understood? Is that clear, students? I have zoomed it more for your convenience. Kindly copy down this. Decomposition of metallic nitrates. Note it down just fast. Okay, I'll explain another time. Silver nitrate. So, as we have seen so far, silver nitrate, if you see, like other metallic nitrates, silver nitrate will get decomposed to silver oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. But silver oxide is highly unstable. So what happened? They get decomposed to silver plus oxygen plus nitrogen. Already you have an oxygen, so you need not repeat it. So it gets decomposed as silver plus oxygen plus nitrogen dioxide. Clear? That is what has been mentioned here.
Ma'am, tin also come in second category, ma'am.
Yes, tin also comes under second category. Mercury comes under third category. You can include mercury with silver. Copper, mercury, silver, gold, platinum. So along with silver, gold, you can also include mercury. So mercury nitrate also gets decomposed to mercury plus oxygen plus nitrogen dioxide. Next is for hydroxides. Now you can easily understand. Silver hydroxide, gold hydroxide do not exist. Why? Because what happens when a metal reacts with water, students? Can anyone say? What happens when metal reacts with water?
Hydrogen gas is evolved and metal oxide
Metal
is
oxide
formed.
plus hydrogen.
In general, this happens, correct?
Metal oxide plus hydrogen gas.
Okay, but what happens when metal like potassium, sodium reacts with water? Exception.
Stop.
Exothermic.
Hydrogen begins burning and forms water.
1 minute, 1 minute, students. Someone has kept icons as their name and they are raising their hand. What is whose name is that? Whose name is this? Can you unmute yourself and speak? Students. Can you please kindly rename yourself? I need to know your name. Else I'll remove you. Okay, what is your name? That's fine, Pa. Please rename. Okay, Aishwarya, rename yourself, Aishwarya. The icons are good. I'm not saying it is bad, but you have to rename yourself. Only then I can call out. So how do I call your name seeing this? Huh? So kindly rename yourself. Can you rename or may I? I'm renaming it now. Huh? Okay. Naveli, right? Okay, so I have renamed you. Fine, students. Students, kindly have proper name. Like if you're Baba Tower students, write have it as BT10 and then your name. And if you're Naveli students, have it as Naveli and then your name. Okay. So there are students who just have their name. Kindly rename it to their concerned batches, respective batches. Okay. Now, there is one student who has just Naveli 10 alone. Who is that? Naveli 10 has left the meeting. Aishwarya, kindly rename yourself. Okay, now what happens when potassium reacts with water? Potassium and sodium alone, when they react with water, they do not form metallic oxide. Instead, they form metallic hydroxide. They form metallic hydroxide. This is the exception. All the other metals, when they react with water, it depends. Certain metals react with cold water, certain react with hot water. Again, when you go back to the reactivity series, I'll tell you that. This is the reactivity series, right? Here, if you see here, metals potassium and sodium when they react with water. Potassium and sodium alone when they react with water, and they react vigorously with cold water. They react vigorously with cold water to form potassium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. But all the other metals means up to lead. All the other metals up to lead. Actually, if you see here, potassium, sodium reacts with cold water, but calcium reacts slowly with cold water. With hot water, they react very fast. So you could have this calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc. You can even have calcium, magnesium, aluminum. These fellow react with hot water vigorously. With hot water, they react vigorously. No, calcium and magnesium alone reacts with hot water vigorously. From aluminium, if you see, aluminium, zinc, iron, lead, they start to react with hot water slowly, but they react fast with steam. Highly reactive in steam. But after that, copper, silver, gold do not react with water. They do not react with water at all. Clear? Either it be hot water, cold water, or steam. Now, so we have seen this, but except potassium and sodium, all the metals, when they react with water, they form only metallic hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. Potassium and sodium alone, when they react with water, they produce metallic hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. Okay. Now, coming to the stability of metallic hydroxides. Potassium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide are highly stable. They do not decompose on heating. But all the other metallic hydroxide, they get decomposed to metallic oxide plus water. You understand? In general, what happens is metal, when you add it to water, they produce metallic oxide plus hydrogen. This metallic oxide, when you add it to water, they produce metallic hydroxide. You understand? So calcium oxide, when you add it to water, they produce calcium hydroxide. Magnesium oxide, when you add it to water, they produce magnesium hydroxide. All hydroxides, we call them as bases. Correct? So any metallic oxide is basic in nature, because when metallic oxide is added to water, they are producing a base. And so they are basic in nature. Clear? So note down this. And silver hydroxide, gold hydroxide do not exist. Even mercury hydroxide do not exist. Please note down for hydroxides also. How many of you have seen how potassium or sodium reacts with water? So, I'll show you how potassium and sodium reacts with water. Do you all see how it is reacting? They are highly explosive. Did you see how it exploded? So this is how a small piece of potassium, when it reacts with water, it happens like this. Okay, so in the அளவுக்கு they are highly reactive. Another one I will show you. Sorry, I'm unable to skip that. Did you see how it is reacting from the bottom? See, always potassium and sodium is stored in kerosene because they react fast with water. And if you see, they would have shown you the symbol highly explosive for the metal. So proper goggles and gloves has to be worn before taking that potassium or sodium from the container. Now he has taken see how the potassium or sodium looks like. It's a metal, but it is still soft. See how they react with air. He just kept it in the atmosphere. It started reacting with air. When he added water, it started catching fire. Very little amount of water. It cast fire. Now he has taken a bigger piece. Now he has a bowl of water. See, he is able to cut it with a knife. Now see what happens.
Not clear, ma'am.
Not clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, students, then you can see your own videos. Once I finish it, you see your own videos about potassium and sodium in your YouTube. Okay, so they are highly reactive, either with oxygen or water, they are highly reactive metals. And so their compounds are highly stable. Understood? That's all, students. This is about your decomposition of metallic nitrates and other things. Now, let's have a simple oral test. Last 10 minutes are there. First question goes to Vittal Rao.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, Vittal Rao, I could hear you. Now, first question is, can you tell me what is the chemical formula of ferric nitrate?
FeNO3 thrice.
FeNO3 thrice. Very good. Nitrate is FeNO3 thrice. Thank you. Very good. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
next question goes to Anish. Anish.
Excuse me, ma'am. Thrice, ma'am, not twice, ma'am.
Okay, thrice. Anish. Okay. Akshayamati. Akshayamati. Okay, question to you is, can you tell me what happens when zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid?
Ma'am?
Can you tell me? Akshayamati, do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Now I can hear you, ma'am.
Question is, what happens when zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid? Can you tell the equation first?
1 minute, ma'am. My mic is not working properly.
No, I could hear you. You can talk. Akshayamati? Akshaya?
Ma'am?
Yes, tell me, what is the symbol of zinc?
Xn. Ma'am, Xn plus HCl gives H2. Xn Cl2 plus H2, ma'am. H2, ma'am.
Good. Good. Good, Akshayamati.
Thank
Next
you.
question goes to Lakshita. Lakshita?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll give you a reaction. Silver nitrate plus lead chloride or lead 2 chloride. What will be the reaction? Can you say me?
Silver chloride and Lead nitrate, ma'am.
The product form, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so silver nitrate, AgNO3. Good, Lakshita. Students, one important condition. This is what type of reaction is this? Amita or anyone else?
Ma'am,
What type of reaction is this? Reaction of AgNO3 plus PbCl2. What type of reaction is this?
ma'am, double displacement reaction.
Very good. It's a double displacement reaction. Now, you know that AgCl plus PbNO3 twice will be formed. Now, how many of you make mistake in writing the chemical formula in the compounds? Always listen here. Whenever you write a double displacement reaction, first dissociate them into ions. AgNO3 gets dissociated to silver is Ag plus 1, nitrate is NO3 minus 1. Similarly, if you take PbCl2, it is Pb plus 2 because 2 chlorine you have, right? So it should have been Pb plus 2. Chloride, it is always minus 1, right? Now it's simple. Pb plus 2 and nitrate, if they combine, you have Pb and nitrate. Pb is having valency 2, nitrate is having valency 1. So when you crisscross, you get PbNO3 twice. Understood? Similarly, Ag and Cl when they combine, Ag is having valency 1, chloride is having valency 1. So when you crisscross, you get AgCl. Do you all understand what I'm trying to say? So these are the two compounds formed. One is AgCl and the other is PbNO3 twice. Understood? You all understand, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's all. So these are all. Now I'll touch another important condition for a double displacement reaction is out of two products formed, one should precipitate. One should precipitate. So out of silver chloride and lead nitrate, which will precipitate? Do you have any idea about this? Students? Okay. Out of silver chloride and lead nitrate, silver chloride will precipitate. Which will precipitate is silver chloride. I'll show you again. I'll show you a video. You will be much more clearer. I'll show you how a precipitate looks. Silver nitrate. Okay, let me take another reaction. The another reaction that I'm going to take you here is same double displacement reaction. It's between PbNO3 twice, lead nitrate, and NaCl. Clear? Both the salts actually are soluble. They are in aqueous state. Now, when they both react, what will they form is, we know that lead chloride and sodium nitrate will be formed. PbCl2 plus NaNO3. Write down, first identify what will be formed and identify the chemical formula separately and write it here. So PbCl2 and NaNO3 is formed. Now I'll show you that reaction. Now it looks like this actually. if you see here, the solution that you had was silver nitrate, I'm sorry, lead nitrate. To that, when I added sodium chloride, what happened is yellow precipitate will form like this. You all understand what I'm trying to say? Or you could even see here also an yellow precipitate is formed. It looks like this. You understand? So you can look through a YouTube video. I'm not getting the exact video now. If I could get it, okay. See here. It's a double displacement reaction. They are taking two different salts. What happened is this among two salt, one salt will form a precipitate like this when they mix two different salts. You understand what I'm trying to say? Any other reaction? Just see this reaction. This is a precipitation reaction. In this precipitation reaction, what we are going to have is, we are going to take lead nitrate. Lead nitrate formula is PbNO3 twice. So we have taken lead nitrate and we have taken potassium iodide. Okay. Lead nitrate and potassium iodide. Now, first they take lead nitrate with the help of a spatula, and in another test tube they take potassium iodide, dissolve it in water. So in two test tubes they have taken two different solutions. Now one solution is going to be added to another test tube. Oh, sorry, they mixed it with water, lead nitrate and potassium iodide. Now, to another salt solution, again they are adding some water and that is also mixed. So first they took lead nitrate and potassium iodide separately, they mixed it. Now you have two solutions, one is lead nitrate and other is potassium iodide. Now, when I mix these both, they are going to mix it. Did you see the beautiful yellow precipitate that was formed? Now, if you see it closer, it is not yellow color solution. When you let it to rest for some time, the yellow color is actually getting settled at the bottom. The yellow color will actually get settled at the bottom. No, it is not a colloid, it is a precipitate. You all understand? So this is the double displacement reaction that has taken place over there. So look at the reaction. Ki, K plus 1, iodide minus 1. Lead, Pb plus 2, nitrate minus 1. Now when they react, what will they form? Lead iodide. So Pb and I will react to form PbI2 and potassium and nitrate will react to form KNO3. That's all. So among this, potassium nitrate is soluble. Lead iodide is insoluble. It is yellow in color. So that got precipitated. You all understand? So next class, I'll teach you about the different solubility of the salt and then we'll end up this chapter. Clear? Do you all understand, students? So the another reaction. So how do you say that this is soluble, the other is insoluble? You can easily say that because all salts of potassium, sodium, ammonium and nitrate are soluble. All salts. Okay, ammonium, all the ammonium salts are soluble, all sodium salts are soluble, all potassium and nitrate salts are soluble. So when you have lead chloride and sodium nitrate, and also all chlorides are soluble. All chlorides are soluble except silver chloride mercury chloride, and lead chloride. These chlorides are all insoluble. So we clearly know that PbCl2 will precipitate and NaNO3 will be in solution. If something is getting precipitated, you put an arrow like this. So PbCl2 is actually precipitating as yellow color. You will put an arrow like this. So this type of double displacement reaction is also called as precipitation reaction. Hope I have made it clear. Clear, students? Okay. That's all, students. Today I am winding this with this chapter. Please do revise whatever I taught to you so far. Okay?
Ma'am,
Yes?
ma'am, I have a doubt, ma'am.
Yes, what is your doubt?
Ma'am, all double displacement reaction will produce a precipitate.
No. Acid-base reaction, sometimes they do produce precipitate, sometimes they do not. For an
Okay.
acid and a base reaction, it is not necessary. But when two salts are reacting, two ionic compounds are reacting, then there a precipitation reaction will take place. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes?
I mean, a displacement reaction, we can find out whether the reaction will happen using the reactivity.
Reactivity.
But what about the double displacement
In
reaction?
double displacement reaction, check for the products formed. If out of two products, as I'm telling it, if two salts are combining, out of two products formed, if one product is precipitating, yes, then the reaction is possible, else it will not take place. Clear?
And how do we know whether the reaction will happen or not?
First check what products will be formed. Now here the two products formed as PbCl2 and NaNO3. If both the products are soluble in water, then the reaction will not happen. But we clearly know that NaNO3 is soluble in water, but PbCl2 is insoluble, because just now we saw all chlorides are soluble except this, this and this. So PbCl2 becomes insoluble. Clear? So out of these two, this will precipitate. So this reaction is possible. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, students. So we are ending this session with this. Thank you all.
Ma'am?
Yes?
Ma'am, for double displacement reaction, we should take the substances as aqueous solutions.
Yes, yes. Aqueous.
Always.
Both the salts should be aqueous.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.